Hey, Sivan here. In this video we're going to be looking at the CV curve tool and we're going to combine it with the Revolve tool. So what we want to do, same as previous videos, we need to make ourselves a curve, but this time we need to make a very sort of specific shape with our curve. So if we're starting with a very empty blank scene, then what we want to try and do is make it round one of our center points, so the black lines that run through the grid. So what this tool is good for, the Revolve, is things that are perfectly rounded. So cups, glasses, bowls, lampshades, anything that's sort of a wine glass, anything that follows a very rounded symmetrical shape. And then what we can do is we can just create a curve and then using Revolve we can create a piece of geometry out of it. So if I kind of show you an example here, so I want to start down here and what we're going to go for is a wine glass, so 3 points for a curve. And I'm going to kind of make the neck. Doesn't matter if our curve's not perfect to start with, the main thing is that we have kind of a rough shape to work with. The main thing as well when using the Revolve to be careful with is you need to think how the object is constructed in the real world. So a wine glass, for example, is a solid kind of piece of glass. It's not going to go down the middle here and have an opening. We want this to be one whole solid piece. So I've made my curve and I've hit enter. We can make some corrections now and kind of make it look a bit better, but it doesn't really matter too much. We can do that after. Right, so once we've got that, what we want to do is go to surfaces and the Revolve options. I'm going to reset my settings. So we have different axes to rotate around, so depending on which view you did it in and which line you went around. So I did mine in the Y. We want to use the object as the pivot. Sweep angle, we can set it to do just part of the object, and that's going around, so we could do half a glass or a whole depending on the object you're making. Segments is how many subdivs as it goes around, so 8 is going to have 8 edge loops that go around that way around the object. So depending on how high poly, how smooth you want it, 8 is the default. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Then it's up to you if you want to use NURBS or polys. I'm going to do polys because it's got some more settings in there that we can kind of look at. So polygons, you've then got tris or quads, depends what you're kind of making for. So we're just going to go quads, and then kind of some of these options. So you could have, it would base it on an exact poly count. Kind of a bit difficult to go by as you don't know how it's going to space the edge loops and things like that. So sometimes it's best to do a general or standard and then just delete edges that you don't need after. I generally go for a general fit and per span isoparam. So what this is going to do is look for each CV point I did, and then this number will be how many edge loops it does per point. So one will be, every point will be an edge loop going around the object. The other settings you can kind of generally leave as default. So I'm then going to hit Revolve. What it will do is then make my geometry for me. Doesn't look that great at the moment. I can press 3 and smooth it out a little bit. So same as the previous video and with the extrude, because this object is bound to the curve, we can select the curve, go to the control vertexes and then tidy up the geometry and get it kind of looking a bit nicer and a bit more kind of what we want it to look like. So we can give it a lip if we want, we can thin out the neck a little bit more, give the edge of the glass a bit more height. Make the base smaller. So we've kind of got a lot more control over it. If we make our curve away from this line, we need to do things just slightly differently. So I'm going to just make over here, I'm going to make something like a vase. So same again, I want this to be an open object, so I need to make sure that I don't just go straight across to the middle now. Hit enter. When we first make an object, center point will always be over here. So what we want to do is hit insert, and we want to move the pivot point to where this is, where the edge of our curve starts. Then we can go into the revolve options again and hit revolve. Then same again, we can smooth it, and then we can tidy it up and kind of getting a looking a bit better. So we can quickly use this to make kind of a range of sort of simple objects that can then go into our projects. So that's CV curve tool and then adding in revolve. Hope to see you in the next video.